know what? They're like, what if I don't know where we go. Ah!
Hello. What is going on, market alchemists? It's good to see everybody here on YouTube. I hope you're all having an amazing day. And it is good to see you, JC Trader. Good to see you, buddy. Alex, good to see you. Hope everyone's having an amazing day. I'm short YM right now, so I will show you all that trade. Looks like I'm about to get stopped out for profit, thankfully, but still. So let me pull that over real quick. So I try to trade on YM at the R3 or the H3 call, and I took a stop. But when it squeezed and then held under, I re-entered, and so far have a really nice position going on this. Unfortunately, we just consolidated for a really long time and just haven't managed to break down. So it looks like we're probably going to squeeze back up. So I had my stop just sitting above this offer that's sold. So I'm going to go ahead and go out now. So you can see, well, as soon as this ticks, there we go. So I went ahead and went out, and that is going to be my day. So, oh, sorry. Let me get the chart up. Yoink. There you go. So I went short here, right at the level. And then we broke. So I went out at the new high when we broke. And then when we held up and then offered and looked weak, I went ahead and re-shorted back in. So we just had this pull back up on me. So, and I kind of decided that if we ever broke this consolidation, I was going to go ahead and get out. We broke it. I waited to see for just a second to see if we'd sell back in, and we got stuck out here. So I went ahead and cut it. So lost about 1,200 on the entry, which was a pretty stout loss. But I made a little over $3,000 on the total position here. I was up about 6, so I gave a good amount back, but that's okay. We'll do that. So we only had a couple calls today. 3 of the 4 were all on some derivative of YM. And we might get another YM call. So if this comes up and hits H3, well, we can do this again. And then we also have Amazon here. Amazon was a beautiful call. Closed under the level, opened, sold away, re-offered right next to it. You could have shorted in here, stop above the level or above the high. Really lovely trade there. And we'll see what happens.
Thank you. Yes. Oh, yeah? Oh, I'm excited to jump into situations like that.
All right, we're starting. Go back to YM, actually. You guys talked about the ES. ES and NQ aren't quite as ideal for me because they both. So this is really important. So ES and NQ, okay, have issues with them that made me not like them. What is for all my cam traders out there? What is wrong with going short at H3 on NQ?
I don't know. Maybe it gets more.
Why are they not a distributor
Alex on the Prime, the question, it's the 9:30 open. Right, we opened too high. Right, we didn't open in the right place for a short on NQ. Right, look at ES. ES opened in a better position, but we squeezed and bought above the level, offered and sold back in. A short there would have been nice, but it didn't. I would have taken, that's a nice one. So ES opened better. But notice how ES didn't call, right? ES didn't call because it didn't open in the right location. It needed to close low, open a little lower for that call, right? So the only future out of all the futures that called was YM. Of course. You made an R on ES? Nice. Do you use a VPS for... When you say VPS, are you talking like a virtual private server? So I don't use a VPS or a VPN depending on who you're talking to currently, but there are quite a few good ones out there. I do use I think it's Go to My PC or something to remote into my home computer, but I'm not actually using that anymore. So I got rid of it. Now I trade everything off of my travel setup. So I'm going to do a video today, I think, actually after I'm done, and show everybody my travel setup. But if you want to see it, this is basically what it looks like at the airport right now. Also, we have our illustrious Dr. Bruz did a video on the BS detector for everybody, and we're going to release that on Friday. So at 11. So the kind of the new schedule, I want to talk a little bit about this. So what I kind of decided I'm going to do is I'm going to keep doing the 11 to 12s for now, but I'm only going to do them Monday through Thursday. The number drop off on Friday from 11 to 12 is pretty consistent from week to week. And because of that, I don't think it's really worth the effort of being online from 11 to 12. Plus I have other stuff I need and want to do. But what we're going to start doing is we're going to start doing a weekly video release on the Friday. So basically you'll have me Monday through Thursday from 11 to 12. And then on Fridays at 11 o'clock, you'll get a video drop for whatever new video we did that week. Alex on the Palm. Nope, absolutely not. Not in the way I trade, at least. I mean, I'm sure there could be definable reasons to long resist, the higher cams. But for me, the only cam I'm going to long off of is the 4th level. So if we get above H4, you can long, but H3, no. The reason being is when you go from H3 to H4, that's going to be what we refer to as a kill zone. So it's not that it's not going to go from H3 to H4, right? But as we go from H3 to H4, you're going to move up and then get really big pullbacks. Move up, really big pullbacks. Move up, really big pullbacks. It'll be very difficult to pull. All right, so we have a lot more news coming in right now than I expected. I mean, I know we had a news event at 11, but it was a pretty weak sauce event. We're just talking consumer inflation. It's normally a very low-key event. I think tomorrow will be the day. We have existing home sales coming out tomorrow. So I think that's going to be the one. Hi Thor, do you draw a value area on a opening candle to get more of it? Nope. I just use the cam.
I shared, Sam.
Andreas, I appreciate that. Hey, good to see everybody who's in. Don't forget, if you have a moment, please like and subscribe. I am broadcasting to you from the airport. So we're getting a little bit of that trader lifestyle on that I know everybody kind of enjoys, right? It's really fun that we're able to do this thing and be able to do it from anywhere. So I hope you all enjoy, getting to say, hey, JP, what's up, dude? Good to see you. Welcome to the Market Alchemists.
How did you want us to send those to you?
All right, so we don't have a lot of calls going on. We got the Amazon one, we got the YM one. So if y'all have any questions, thoughts, one of the reasons I'm out here is to talk with you all and help you with your trading. Obviously, I show you my trades and talk a little bit about them, but since I don't trade a lot, right, I like the idea of holding YM. So if I was in a smaller contract size, like if I'd only had two, like I think if I only had the 2 contracts instead of like 5, it would have been more doable, but I didn't want to hold this one all the way back. It would have been a pretty big give back. So I netted enough to cover my loss and then make an extra like 1,500. So, but now maybe a couple of contracts and just run them out the rest of the day. See what happens. Thanks, Infinity. I'm glad to hear you say that. I really like hanging out with everybody. I mean, I'm trading anyway. So I'm, it's a lot of fun. It just feels like we're parked waiting for something. So we were talking about this in our earlier session today, that since we had this sell and we got to the 200, we basically have just been consolidating. We're just chopping. So it just seems like we're parked and waiting for something. So that's so awesome, JP. So stoked.
Already using legacy on one side.
Auto. Shiraz, I always use auto. So auto will so there's 2 different calculation methods: regular trading hours and extended trading hours. Right? We use regular trading hours unless the price goes outside the RTH range. Then we use ETH hours. Right? So auto automatically switches between the 2 depending on range break. Right? So once you break the RTH high and low, the auto will automatically switch you.
Don't be getting Sam worked up on the Monday morning.
So I would not likely short crude from H4. And the reason why is because you're in a lower range. If this was a higher range and it was wider, maybe. But this is lower and narrow. So the chances of us actually running outside the range with having our ATR low inside the range is very low. So I would say, plus the indexes look weak to me. So crude will likely be a little bit stronger if the indexes are weak. So, and crude's above the 200 on both the 1 minute and the 1 hour at this point, right? And it's buying this high. So crude's actually looking quite strong to me right now. All right. Give me 1 second, everybody. I gotta grab something really quick. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. So I cannot tell you how many times I've been talked to while I've been sitting here with this setup. Spacklesworth, are you messaging me through Thor Young MA on IG? Because I haven't.
Thank you for sharing that. It's good for me to know kind of what you get, so that I know what.
Oh, I got you right here. It's in my spam. Sorry. There you go. Gotcha. I've had a really busy weekend, or a couple of days, so I didn't every like once a month I'll go through my spam. So sorry, it went into my. So let's try. I think YM's starting to sell again. I had a feeling this thing was going to come and take me out. I got back into it, but significantly smaller contract size this time. I only went in with 2 contracts with a stop above this new high. So it was only about a $200 risk on this one. Just seeing if I can stay in this position, because unfortunately with the 5 contracts, I couldn't hold through more pullback. So, but if we find a buyer here and squeeze out, I'll just be done with it. So. No, I haven't. Oh, Bros answered you. So here's the position so you can see it. So I went in. First one was a stop, second entry, went out for profit, which netted me my basically took care of my comms, plus put me up about 1,600 or so, 1,700. Reshorted. This time only risked about 400. And just seeing if I can get a little bit more of this move. Since we had a lack of conviction, like up here, I was very happy to get pretty heavy, but down here, not so much. So we'll see how that goes. But that'll be my last trade of the day. If that doesn't work, I'll just consider the market to be a little bit too indecisive. Look at MQ getting its squeeze on. Right back to pre-market high on ES. ES is still in a really nice range, but it's buying a lot. It started to sell here, but then it switched to buying, and it's been buying since, and it hasn't started selling again yet. So I wouldn't short yet. And we're after 10:30, and we broke our IB high. So there's some stats against getting short on ES right now. So we have in our suite of indicators, the Access Plus indicators, Alex, we have what we call the really key levels. The really key levels allows you to specify any level that you want out of our collection of levels and project it onto any time frame. So in this instance, because the 1 hour 200 SMA and the 4 hour and the daily 200 SMAs are all very prevalent averages, you can select those here through really key levels. Oh, really key levels is free to everybody. So actually, you don't even need the subscription to get to that one. Thank you, Russ, for the clarification. I need to move the IB up. There it is. I like for a potential short here on everything, but especially YM. I think we're finally going to crack this level. So we have the 1 hour 200 here, and we have the open price and the 1 hour 200 are basically the same now. So if we can lose the 200 and lose the open, we should go into a really nice sell, at least back to the previous day's close. But I mean, ATR low is way down here. Let's see what happens. Of course.
I was like pretty sure
I think I'm going to do lunch after this. A little food court action. Yeah. So the differences, Shiraz, are very they're very subtle, but massive, right? Like I don't, you know what I'm saying? Like it's hard to put those two things in the same sentence. But the variation between DOS's cams and our cams are just some slight calculation. Some slight calculation differences on mostly time frames, right? But if you're talking a few ticks one way or the other, and that being the difference between the right spot and not the right spot, unfortunately,
But coming out of school, I decided I wanted to be more on the business side. I started off my career in the nightclub bar and restaurant management, opened up a couple new restaurants for people. Obviously, cut my teeth there on the service side. Eventually, after several years, decided.
Yeah, I think today's more of a hangover day, bros.
And I
from the big sell. So, because the big thing we're talking about is what happened on Friday. We had this big dump.
Had about 130 people from there.
And then basically in the after hours, we just offered value on this big drop. And that's basically where we are right now. So like if you take this high and go this low, look, we're just in value.
And ended up going into the management programs and everything else, and they shipped me back down here to Orlando. So I was working in that for quite a while, and then most recently.
So the other thing you can do, Shiraz, is you can actually use the configuration to match the DOS ones, which is what Rose was talking about. But for me, if it was me, I would get the trading view, and then if you're going to still use DOS, I would actually mark the trading view levels into DOS and then trade off of them.
Sam, one thing we can do is talk to the
I've been doing that. I was the vice president for the last, I don't know, probably 6 years or so, 2019 to today, so 7 years. And the company is being sold. So I don't know why, but for some reason, Sangeeta reached out to me on LinkedIn and said, hey, we're looking for a new director. And I get those messages.
Yeah, agreed, GP. Good to see you, buddy. It was fun having you on last week.
I feel very lucky. I actually enjoyed it. You know, going into it, they warned me about it. And, you know, midway, I was like, hey, this is taking a while. This is very thorough, which I can understand. I absolutely.
Of course.
Somebody mute.
ES is in a great spot. But I like YM better. YM's still my favorite because it's the one that's actually in the right range, and it has not broken its IB high. So if we break our IB low on YM, we get a stat buff, and we'll also be under the 1 hour 200 SMA at that point.
I love the.
See how well the 200 is working on the 1 minute? Hoping we can crack the 200. Obviously, we had a large order sitting up here at pre-market high. We were working it. We basically did a UTAD on it. Sold back in, offered, and then started to sell again.
Yes, so I can understand.
$112 people watching. How are we doing on our likes? I stopped checking them because I just figured I'm going to ask every so often, but I don't want to start saying, like, I'm kind of overdoing that. Hey, there's 100 people here. Why are there only 50 likes? Like, if you don't want to like, don't like. It is what it is. Yeah, the IB high is the one I don't like. That's why I like YM, bros. I'm like hyper fixated on YM right now because it's the one that really has like the best alignment today. Yeah, still the only one I'm into. go. There's some good volume. So we're trying to lose the 200 again, and we're coming back down to the 1 hour where the open's at. So for all this effort today, we have not managed to buy and move away from the open. And we're kind of drilling into the 1 hour. Look how we closed it. We stayed above it. Look how we have not been below the 1 hour 200 yet as far as closing. So at the end of this session, if we're closed underneath that, that'll be a big thing.
Story of my life, ma'am.
For me, I think I'm going to target ATR low at L3 is my target, at least for right now. If we sell to it really hard and we don't exhaust, I may go ahead and go for the L4. But having so much here, we've got L3 plus we've got we got our L3 plus our pre-market low is right next to each other. So getting a move back to pre-market low should not be too difficult. We're basically going from pre-market high to pre-market low right now. So Alex, what Buzz said, I'm going to back him up there. I think going for the central pivot's probably a solid target on ES. But I mean, if you're short at H3, technically L4 is the maximum distance I would target. But on a wide range, going all the way to the edge is a bit wishful. It's doable, but it's a bit wishful, especially when you consider that ATR low is inside the range now on most of these. Right? So like if I was on ES, for instance, right, I'd be going for here. Yeah, ATR low and yesterday's low sitting just underneath it. So you're going to get a big bounce. I mean, you could go for pre-market low, or go for the third pivot. But the CP is right here, ATR low, yesterday's low. That seems like a pretty obvious bounce location.
Sam, I didn't share that document with everybody, just so it's used for first. Just in case I had put something in there in a second.
Wow, there we go. That's going to be that would be in your settings, not in my settings, Shiraz. I don't have anything that stops people from sending me messages on IG. So there's somewhere in your settings where you're requiring someone to follow you in order for you to message them. And I don't follow very many people. So I think right now I'm following like 80 people or maybe 100 people or something, if that, maybe like 50 people. And most of them are just businesses. They're not actually people. Check it out though, Shiraz. If that doesn't work, let me know. Holler at me. All right, people. Of course, it came a little too high, so I went out. I'm glad I got back in though. I didn't go quite as strong because of the weaker entry location and the fact that I had already profited. This is looking a lot better. I'm very happy with this candle. Look at this big wick. Closed just above it, opened, squeezed, opened, down. Now, if we close underneath, that's a very weak sign. There's the CP on YM. Now, remember, this is a wide range, so I'm now expecting that we will sell into the lower end of the range and then rally back up to close. But YM, why do I like YM so much now? What happened on YM that makes me very happy right now? What did YM just do? YM just broke its IB low. Yep, exactly, Bruz. So we've now broke our low of day, right? And after 10:30 without breaking the IB high. So statistically, we are more likely to continue to the sell. On top of that, we have finally broken the 1 hour 200 SMA. I agree, Master. So we've got some stuff going for us now. So I'm going to go ahead and start trailing the 200 on the 1 minute. So if we buy the IB low, buy the 1 hour 200, and then come up through our 200, I will consider that too bullish, and I will exit, kind of like here, right? And then what it'll do is it'll give me the opportunity. I'll observe it at that level, right? If it squeezes, I'll try it. Maybe I could try it short again. But if it holds and goes over, I can get back in. You can see here, I didn't use the level. Once I got stopped out and it looked weak like I was going to sell, I went ahead and went short again. I just want to sell because we're in the higher end of the range on a wide lower range. So the H3 short is where we want to be. So I'm just trying to hit up here at H3, and I'm trying to get this transitionary range movement from the top side of the range down to the bottom of the range. Right, so if you look, so basically if you look back, all I'm trying to do is go from here, right? We offered back. I'm trying to go from the value offering down to the bottom of the range.
Well, yeah, I'm thinking we don't make those things.
I'm holding from your second entry pretty much. I'm testing the not move myself up. Nice, Dalton. So that's my preferred methodology. The only reason I don't do that as much now, Dalton, is because of my contract size. You know, when you're carrying 5 contracts of YM, having it come back the distance I did was the difference between making $0 and making $6 to $7 grand. So at a certain level, there's just only so much we can reasonably be expected to give back. But it is part of my journey as I'm growing as a larger, you know, as I'm becoming a larger trader, right? Having to, you know, I am having to get used to tolerating. So think about this, everybody. Anybody here that is a member of, has been with me for a couple of years, tell me how much I was risking 2 years ago per trade. A reoffer happens almost every time. There's always a reoffer. I mean, not always, but it happens more often than it doesn't. Less. So a year and a half ago, I was risking between $100 and $150 per trade. Now I'm risking upwards of $1,000 to $1,500. Right? It's a big difference for just a year and change time. So, you know, so tolerating a pullback when that pullback cause, you know, when your daily goal was $400 or $500 a day and the pullback you're in is giving up $3 grand, right? It's a different bit of a mindset. So like I was up $6 grand earlier, I ended up netting 3. Now I'm in, I risked a few hundred, and now I'm up another grand. We're gonna see if this thing comes back and closes. It needs to close under the 200. If this rallies back out and goes up and takes me here, I'll exit. Actually, this is the wrong structure. I should be above that high. So actually, I need to put it right there. That's the spot. So what I'm seeing is, you can see how we had this little top, and then we broke that low. We pulled back and then sold. Right, so we really shouldn't buy that low and then that pullback. If we do, then that's structurally we'll shift structure and become bullish. Okay, moment of truth. 20 minutes to close this thing out.
literally just said, hey, if you see anyone who's like looking for stuff, you kind of just like help them out. Like I already do like
Put this back over here so I can keep an eye on it. What Oh, we have some other calls. Oh no, still the same ones. So one of the major benefits to having the Camaria pivot plays coded by Bruz, right, is that some days you get this. You have 2 tickers, only those 2 tickers called, but both tickers actually worked, right, within reason. Both of them offered what I would consider to be a profitable opportunity, right? And that's something that's really important with the Camaria indicators, right? Some of us come here to trading, and your initial desire is to trade like a mad person all day. And you end up just kind of get confused, or you get, some analysis paralysis or something like that happens. So having the CPP really can help you out a lot, because it's not just what it helps you do, it's what it helps you not do, right? If there are no calls that fit, you could be like Bruz today. Bruz is saying, I'm not taking any trades today because the calls that happened didn't really align with what he likes. Right, so you can make that decision too, right? You could wake up today and tell by looking, as soon as the market opened and things started chopping around, you could just say, well, I've got my indicators going, so I'm going to go walk around, do some housework, right? And then you come in and do that. You know what I mean? Did Avi say that? I think a lot of people say that, but yeah, I'm sure Avi has said that. But it's very, it makes sense, right? Really good trading is really boring, right? That's how you know you're doing it right. If you're comfortable and you're having fun, you're probably not doing it right. You should be uncomfortable and a little bit bored. If you're sitting in that state, then you're probably actually doing pretty well. Especially if you're trading today. Very indecisive market. So our retracement right now is from here to here. So you can see we're well under value. So that's good. Yeah, that's better. Yeah. No, exactly, Alex. So the first thing, like, if you were like in the Market Alchemist program, right? The first thing that we actually do is we encourage 2 major things. 1, stop trading, and number 2, naked chart. Right. So the first thing I'm going to want you to do, like if you came to work with me, little inside, right? The first thing I would do is I'd look at your screen and I'd say, take everything off your screen except for something that you absolutely need. So what often happens is, in order to feel safe as a trader, because you're trying to provide, some kind of continuity to the market, and you try and do that by having a litany of indicators on your screen all telling you stuff. And you figure if you get 15 indicators that all tell you the same thing, then that means you're going to have a really good trade. And unfortunately, that's not how it works at all. All 15 indicators can be wrong at exactly the same time, because the 15 indicators are probably based on a similar concept or metric. right? You really only want to have like 2 or 3, maybe 4 criteria that it takes to get into a trade. Like for me, it's, hits or gets near the cam level, right? I need to see in the volume and price action. I need to see stopping or struggling or some kind of volume. So I use the buying and selling detector. So I need, if I'm going to sell, I need to see selling, or I need to see exhaustion, ideally, or some kind of struggle, right? So that's my win, right? But my where is cams, right? So I just need to see the cam interaction. That's what gets me interested. Once I have the cam interaction, do I see the right volume? If I see the right volume, I'm in. How do I manage it? That's it. Right? Whenever I get in, I always get in using the same concept. I'm basically using an ISO pivot with a new low with my stop above the high. You know what I mean? And I just, so I just end up going through and just really cleaning that up. But that's something that's really important. And then what can happen is over time, you will add charts, add things on your chart, and then you will whittle them away. Right. So now, like if you look at my chart, all I really have on my chart are cams and really key levels. Right. So I have my cams, which is where I'm looking, and then I have the really key levels, which are what create the volume. So I have a place for volume, and then I have a volume creator, all in the same location. Right. So this really helps me stay dialed in and focused. Are you going to sell from up here or down here? No. I don't have the right thing in the right spot. It works. So now we'll see what happens here. We're kind of offering up underneath the 200s. We're having trouble gaining momentum, so maybe another squeeze. Ghost candles, of course. So the ghost candles are volume weighted candles. So when you become a trader and you start using VPA, right, this is where most people are reading VPA down here. Right, so let me maybe zoom out a little bit. Right, so if you're using VPA, one of the things that's really challenging about volume and price analysis is you're watching here and then looking down here, watching up here and then looking down here. Well, what is wrong for my VPA readers? What is wrong with that? What is wrong with that candle? What am I seeing in this candle that's problematic? Help me out, people. No movement with what? No, with high volume. Correct. So it's stuffed, right? We have a high volume candle, right? That attempts to push, right? That candle should have exploded with all that volume, and instead it went nowhere, right? So that volume was absorbed into something, right? So it's not surprising that almost immediately afterwards we offered lower, right? Because we tried to buy, and when we tried to buy, we couldn't, right? We got the volume we needed, but we didn't get the result from the volume. So that is what we call an anomaly, right? So what these allow you to do is you can see now, if you look back in time, you'll notice that we have a red candle that moves down. This one got stuffed. So I wouldn't be shocked that we'd get a little pullback. Sure enough, we come up, we then try and go higher, stuffed, right? And then sell back in. So anytime we're getting large buy volume, we're having trouble advancing. But it's also true for the sell volume also. So what does that mean? We're choppy, right? Anytime we're getting good buy volume, we're not going anywhere. Anytime we get good sell volume, we're not going anywhere. So we're choppy. We finally got some good sell volume here that drove us a bit into the CP. We then bounced off the CP to reoffer the 200. Right, we're now, it looks like a setting an ISO pivot at the 200. If we can move lower here, we'll probably move back to the CP. Anomalies. Yep. So today in the Alchemists, I'm doing a 1-2 session. I think maybe we'll talk more about VPA. Tired though, man. My daughter was up till like 3 in the morning, and I had to leave at 5 to head to the airport so I could get here and work. When I travel, I like working from the airport. So you can really use the ghost candles to really highlight where you're at. So for instance, check this out. This buy, look how you can see we closed right here. That's why I marked it, by the way. I marked this level because of where we closed that candle, because it has a lot of volume on it. Right? Then look what happens. We buy right to that level again, and we push away from it. And when we get buying of high volume, we stuff, indecisive, and then sell. We then pull back to that order, offer it, and then sell. Right? So you can find orders using the ghost candles. You can see where we stopped and which one had the volume on it. Handy. So the market how to change it to ghost candles in TradingView, you just add them. So it's ghost candles are an indicator. So you can go up to your indicators and just type in ghost candles. If you have the Access Plus, I believe ghost candles are Access Plus. Yeah, those are the Access Plus ones. So they're premium. The Camarilla pivot plays, the buying and selling detector, and the ghost candles are all in the premium subscription. Got to make sure our developer has lots of coffee so he can stay up all night long coding cool stuff for us. Which I think coffee is what's on the menu for me next. You can see a Starbucks from here. Just close this hour already. Spacklesworth, you get access to the Access Plus side of the Discord. So our Discord kind of splits into two different worlds. You get our side where we are. So you can see this is my trading setup this morning. So this is the Access side, or the Alchemist side, where our adepts hang out, where everyone we're working with. Down here in the Access Plus side is what you get with the indicators. So Bruz has lots of material in here. We have call systems happening, and we do have a little community support. We have an Access chat in here where people are talking with each other and stuff like that. So you get access to this part If you want to, actually get mentoring, then you have to go to the other side. No problem. A reminder, if you do decide to sign up, Spackles, if you do the year, we take 2 months off. So if you end up trying it, like you can, and it's okay if you try it for a month and then unsubscribe and then resubscribe too. But just so you know, if you do either of the subscriptions and you do them for the year, we take 2 months off. So especially if you do the Access mentoring, or if you do the Alchemist Adept with us, I mean, that's really handy because that's $250 a month. So it saves you $500. So, but on the indicators, it's still a couple $100 savings. But and yes, so Anton, the alerts are like this. So you go into the CPP. In the CPP, you can select which alerts you want. So because we have 3 different types, we have the candidate alert, which basically right at the open will give you a watch list. That can be a little aggressive. Okay, so because it's going to basically signal anything that has a potential, right? So candidate play. Then we have the approaching plays, which basically notifies you when you're getting near the cam, right? And then we have the evaluate plays, which is the one I use, right? So when it hits the cam, it tells you to evaluate it. You then go into your alerts and you set it up like you just go in and set up the alert. Your condition is the CPP. Its functionality calls the plays, and you set it to your alert time frame. Set it to your watch list, and you're good to go. I got some more selling going. So if we get down closer to the CP again, we will close underneath the 1 hour 200. That would be a pretty solid signal. You can see we've been working on losing. We finally lost it and offered the 200 on the 1 minute. If we can get under the hour, that would be nice. Maybe get this moved down to pre-market low I'm looking for. Yeah, same. So Anton, I was on DAS first also. So really awesome program if you need insanely fast execution. It's probably one of the best out there actually for the direct access executions. Just since I trade futures and, at most I'm taking like 15 contracts or something like that, right, on micros, like micro gold or something. So I really don't require the amount of heavy hitting that DAS program can do. That combined with the monthly charge, man, Do I post trades on the Discord? Some, yes, not all of them. But and that's for your analyzing and stuff. But during the day when we're actually hanging out, we just talk about it in real time. It's a big help, Anton. And in the near future, we're going to have single stock equity. We're going to have single equity futures in the not so distant future also, right? I also, so we got about a minute left. So we're going to close out today's show. Or I guess we'll start the wrap now, actually. So I hope everybody had a really awesome day today. It was good seeing all of you. Schedule on per usual through the rest of the week, like I said. So if y'all have anything you need, I will see you all on tomorrow. Otherwise, we're going to keep this short open on YM and see where we can get to by the end of the day. Hope you all have a great one. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and keep it green, people. Talk to you soon.